4% increase. That's a very modest increase. I would hope that any increase that's in combat forces that the president decides upon would be that modest if it comes at all.
Senator Levin, if there have been a lot of polls out saying that the U.S. public is not very supportive of the Afghan mission, how many more military deaths do you think the U.S. public can tolerate until the United States would have to withdraw? If there's a surge, the assumption is there's probably going to be a lot more service members killed, the news coming to the United States. How much longer do you think the public could tolerate and should tolerate this?
I would never want to make that kind of a prediction based on deaths. Each one of those deaths is significant, and I would never make a prediction like that. The president is making a critically important decision for the security of this country. He has taken the needed time to do it. He, I'm sure, is under a great deal of pressure from the Republicans who just every week, it seems, are attacking him for taking this time. And if he does something less than what they think General McChrystal is asking for, they would be critical of him, I think. Again, unless it is part of a larger NATO decision where it seems to me that the decision of the president would be seen in that larger context and would be more difficult to attack the way I think some Republicans at least are geared up to attack and have already said that unless the president goes with 40,000 combat forces, that he somehow or other is not doing what McChrystal is asking for. Number one, they don't know what McChrystal is asking for. That is a series of options. It's not been made public. It's not one number. And what McChrystal also is asking for is not just a number. As a matter of fact, he has said don't focus on the number of troops. Focus on strategy. Focus on the whole host of things that you've got to look at in order to succeed. So I think that the president's decision is one which he's making with great care and proper care, and it's going to be based on American security, and so it can't be answered in the kind of way in which you've asked.
Well, let's flip the question around and have you suggest what the president needs to do to sell this and the cost to the American public in both lives and treasure.
Lay out what the mission is, the purpose is, the relationship to American security is, and to be part of a larger NATO announced initiative so that it's not just America, it's America is part of a larger NATO coalition which is going to be supportive of success in Afghanistan, because it's important that we do succeed in Afghanistan. We can't succeed, I believe, without a significant number of additional combat forces through the other initiatives that I've talked about. And that's what the president needs to do, is to explain why it is that success is important and how we are part of a larger effort in that regard.
Rick?
Senator, among the anxious people waiting for a decision aren't just Republicans who are finding a reason to complain. It's the military families and the soldiers themselves who think there may be a surge and they may be deploying as early as January. So morale-wise, there is a negative effect of the long process in making a decision here. And it can't come as any surprise to the Obama administration that they were going to face an Afghanistan decision at some point. Is there a time when a decision has to be made on behalf of the morale of the troops?
Well, I think the troops are incredible, and the troops want the best strategy possible for success. And they don't begrudge this president the time to come up with that strategy and the way to succeed at it any more than they begrudged President Bush, who took 3 months before he decided on a surge against the advice of his commander in the field, General Casey. What our troops deserve is the best thinking and all of the equipment and training that we can give them, and a reasonable period to rest after they have been deployed. There have been a huge number of deployments here. Our troops and their families are extraordinarily brave. They never complain. They're entitled not just to, again, the means and the tools to succeed and to have us support their families, but they're also entitled to the best possible strategy. And the President has taken, I think correctly, the time to sort through the complexities of Afghanistan so that we're on a course with our NATO allies to promote success there.
At this point, a number of weeks into the Pakistani campaign into the border regions, what would your message be to the government there?
Government in Pakistan?
Yes, sir.
That they think they finally have turned their attention to the border regions. There's other regions in Pakistan further south which are controlled by the Taliban that I hope that they'll also turn their attention to. But I want to give them credit because I think up in the FATA area, so-called, in the border area, that they have taken some heavy casualties and have had some real successes going after the Taliban, and it could help really turn things around in Pakistan. But again, there's other parts further south that need that same kind of determination and grit.
Halfway through.
Sir, switching gears to the Fort Hood shootings, I was wondering at what point do you think it would be appropriate for your committee to start having open hearings on this, and what your initial reaction is as to what went wrong?
Well, of course, we're in the middle of briefings now, and we will, as soon as we have a few more briefings, make a decision as to when our first hearing is. I announced that we will be having hearings. I've already announced that, and we are undertaking an investigation focusing on the military piece of this. Other committees will be focusing more probably on the FBI part of it, the Joint Terrorism Task Force pieces of it. But I just can't tell you exactly when the hearings will begin, other than that there will be hearings and that they'll begin after we've had some additional briefings, which will then put us in a position to have public hearings so that we hold them in a way which is useful and for the public. But also, we've got to do all of that being careful not to in any way undermine the criminal investigation and prosecution, which is so essential here.
And Senator Lieberman yesterday had his first public hearing, and he qualified the shootings as a terrorist attack. I was wondering whether you'd be comfortable to name that a terrorist attack or not.
Well, it sure looks like that. There may not have been any others that worked with them, but it probably can be labeled a terrorist attack. I'm not uncomfortable with thinking that that's the likely outcome here, or the likely accurate description.